It's called Cora and the Corona, One Little Girl's Journey in Healing in Quarantine. It's a book. It's catching on across the Niagara region and beyond. Let's talk to Cora Dernederlanden, Gizzy, the dog, and Cora, the subject of the book and the author of the book, along with their mom. Welcome, ladies. Cora, let's begin with you. How did this book come about, the idea for it, and what prompted you to sit down and write this story?
I was sad because I couldn't see my friend Alora, and I was trapped in the house.
Mom suggested that you write it down. So how did it become a book?
I wrote it the Corona, and then I just threw it on our lap, and she just started reading it, and then she just thought maybe I could make it bigger.
She kind of wrote the story. What happened was she actually got very upset and started crying. And I said, well, you know what? Years ago, I lost my brother, and I was a young girl, and I wrote a book, and it made me feel better. So she went out on our balcony, and I didn't know what she was doing, but in teenage fashion, even though she's only 8, she came back and threw the book on my lap. And when I opened it, I started to read that, to her, she felt like this isn't quarantine, this is like captivity. And so she wrote the book about missing her friend Alora. And that's when I said to her, you know what? I think other children will definitely value from this story. So we started to expand on it and put in ways that we could help other children. So she started on her own making musical instruments out of recycled material. And what's the log line?
Carefully staying away is the key to being curled and free.
Very good. So that's how the book kind of came about.
The book is really autobiographical because following the story of the book, it's exactly what you are saying happened in real life.
Yeah, and on the website, what's so neat about it is Alora, her best friend, is actually real. So we have photos of the real characters, including Gizzy, on the website, so people can go and meet them. And
you, in your career, you are a grief expert, a grief counselor, and offering some advice. This isn't the first book that you've been involved in, as you've alluded to. How important is it to share stories of grief and share, especially for young people, how situations like this pandemic can cause grief and how to deal with the grief that is caused by it?
It's huge. I think what's the most interesting thing is we are asking traumatized people to help traumatized people. We have teachers, we have students, people in the general public. We are all traumatized. And, working in this industry, we have to realize our emotions are heightened, our feelings are heightened, our children are watching, and we need to share our stories. That's the best way to heal. The number one thing I hear all the time is, it is great to realize I'm not alone. And that's what this book was meant to do, is to teach children and parents, you're not alone. But we also have to respect the fact that we're all traumatized, and that kind of changes our behaviors at times, and we need to have some understanding towards that.
The book is $9.95, available through Roberts Press.
Yes.
And how many copies are in print right now?
10,000.
And are you expecting that eventually you may have to run a second print run?
We're actually running a second print run in Quebec. We were contacted by a large funeral chain. They are going to run a coloring book version, and they're thinking of printing 5,000 to 10,000 and distributing it to schools in Quebec. And now they're reaching out to Ottawa and Ontario. So they're wanting to team it up with some crayons from Crayola Canada and offer it to children in school systems and people who obviously go to the funeral home for free. So the book has definitely taken on a life that I don't think either one of us were prepared for, but it's pretty awesome to see people using the story. And what I think is so fascinating is it's actually just one true story about someone's feelings and emotions. So it really shows how we need to share those stories of grief. And in these types of times, we need to really look at each other and go, yeah, this is hard.
The whole thing is an amazing story. Thanks for your time today, ladies. And please thank Gizzy for joining us as well, please.
Yeah. He's getting treats, lots of treats.